We're living in a time where we're seeing aging redefined right before our eyes. But I think we're getting something very wrong. I see it more and more often in my comments, and it concerns me enough that I want to talk about it in this episode and hear your thoughts on this too. It first stood out to me when I talked about what an aging icon Mick Jagger is, a man who in his 80s still goes on world tours and dances around the stage like someone half his age. Then there's women like 73-year-old Ginny McCall, who I interviewed on the channel just a couple of weeks ago, and who holds a world record for being the oldest competitive ninja athlete. If her profound strength and ability is not an example of aging well, I really don't know what is. Yet in both these cases and many others featured on the channel, there are a lot of voices who have a different view of what aging well looks like, and I've got some thoughts that I want to share with you today. So I'm really excited that we now have the opportunity to redefine aging and get past the stereotypes of frailty and decline and loss of independence. On this channel, we're hoping to share through my own experience, those of the people I interview, and my parents too, who are building strength in their 80s, that we can maintain a quality of life for life through basic lifestyle changes and fundamentally by building and maintaining our muscle mass. That is the fountain of youth. No doubt. Yet, when I shared the example of record-breaking ninja Ginny McCall, among the comments were statements like, "I was shocked to see the wrinkles." And there were a few people who suggested she should have cosmetic surgery. Now, a non-essential surgery in your 70s would be a huge decision and a deeply, deeply personal one. I don't actually believe these comments were meant to be unkind. It's literally people saying it as they see it. It doesn't mean they don't cause any harm, but they reflect a genuine response that a lot of us have now because we're living in a time where we're used to seeing older people in the media who have been surgically and aesthetically enhanced. And the surgeons are getting better at it and better at disguising their work too. Just take a look at Kris Jenner, who thanks to some brilliant cosmetic surgery, looks like a woman half her age at 69. And I just about choked on my chia pudding when I saw recent footage of John Travolta at a Grease event dressed as Danny Zuko. To see someone at 71 look so facially youthful was actually very confusing. Amazing, but hard to process too. And it is becoming more and more commonplace. Last year we heard from Dr. Johnny Betteridge on the channel, who shares his opinions on social media about the secret cosmetic work celebrities have had done, which they don't typically talk about, so at least Kris Jenner did. But it means we look at higher profile older people, and subconsciously now we start to expect them to look less lined and jowl free. And the kind of artistry now that we saw with someone like Kris Jenner is setting a new and very hard to attain aesthetic standard for older women. And is that a good thing just because it's possible? What psychological impact does it actually have on the rest of us? I routinely receive comments from viewers who tell me what a difference upper eyelid surgery would make to my appearance. And guess what? I had figured that one out for myself. In fact, every one of us understands we could look very different with cosmetic surgery. I could slim my nose while I'm at it. Choosing to have surgery is a personal decision. It's also a massive financial one that rules it out for most of us. It's pretty traumatic and not without its risks, especially the older we get. And it's not a choice that we should get confused with what it means to age well. You could spend hundreds of thousands, as some have, to get a top plastic surgeon to remove the traces of aging from your face and neck. But if you struggle to get up quickly from a chair or a car seat, or you're walking slowly or stiffly, or you can't spring back up when you bend down, or you struggle on the stairs, your age is going to betray you every time. The fountain of youth has to spring from within, or it's just a mask. A lot of people who have maintained fitness into their later years may have spent considerable amounts of time being active outdoors, and their skin is more wrinkled from sun damage. And that's why when we talk about using sunscreen now, it should allow younger generations to age strong and not have so many signs of sun damage on their skin in later life if they are doing a lot of outdoor exercise. And we do want to protect the health and integrity of our skin, but we should not confuse a taut unwrinkled face with healthy aging. When plastic surgeons talk about taking 20 years off a person, that's meaningless if their physical strength and fitness doesn't match the face. It's possible to age well and have a lot of wrinkles if you're strong. You are not aging well when you don't have many wrinkles and you have a tight face, but you're physically declining and you're not doing anything about it. That's a crucial point that's getting missed because we're being told we can turn back the years cosmetically. And my concern is we're getting our priorities wrong. So I would like to hear plastic surgeons and aesthetic practitioners be much more vocal about this. They're the ones making vast amounts of money from their skill and expertise, and that's fine, and we can all admire the results, but treatments and procedures won't help you live better for longer. There's no shortcut to aging well. We have to put the effort in. And the good news is, the real fountain of youth is not just for an elite, it's for all of us, and we can start today. I did an episode recently on how we can age powerfully on a budget, so I'm going to link that below. Because what people really mean by the fountain of youth is the fountain of energy that keeps us vibrant, mobile, and enjoying life to the full. And the reason Ginny McCall doesn't feel the need to have surgery or some kind of aesthetic enhancement is because she doesn't feel old. Her fountain of youth is flowing internally, and she is energetically youthful. And let's hear her thoughts on what aging well does actually mean to her.
The inner strength, the inner feeling is very youthful because you can get up and down and you can do things, but the aging process continues. So you have to fight against it. We're always fighting against it. I prefer feeling good with strength because I feel it will aid me in becoming independent for as long as possible.
So some people, like celebrities and business people, choose to have cosmetic surgery because they feel it will enable them to work longer. Sadly, they're probably right because that's become a reality of our culture. But the likes of Jennifer Aniston and Brad Pitt, they're working out as well. So they are physically strong and fit, and the body and the face make sense together. Some people choose to have cosmetic surgery because they look at themselves in the mirror and no longer recognize the reflection staring back at them, and they feel their face no longer matches who they are. And so it's an understandable choice, if you have the money, to go ahead with surgery in that kind of situation, if it's something that's just really getting you down and holding you back from living to the full. We absolutely have a right to make decisions like that without being judged or made to feel bad for it. But no one should have surgery out of the illusion that it's going to turn back the years on their life and their energy levels. Because as my 82-year-old mum is a prime example of, there's only one way to do that, and that's to build muscle. Now, a few months ago, I interviewed the lovely Linda O'Day on this channel, who at 75 is in incredible shape, and she is vibrant and youthful head to toe. She was upfront about having had cosmetic surgery in her 60s, but she had this to say about what she feels is key to being energized and vibrant in later life.
Now, when you think about people aging, what is your visual? It's not all about your face. In fact, that's the least important part of it. I think you can have a face that looks great, and if your body, if you are, not taking up your space and you're dimming your light and, you're letting gravity set in and you're not resisting it, that's far more aging than being able to have, a physical presence because you're strong and you're vital and you're, confident in who you are and your face has wrinkles. That's far more impressive. And, when I say impressive, what I mean is how the world views you. This is what we're talking about. How are you perceived? Because that feeds your confidence. So think about someone, doesn't matter what age they are, in their 80s, and they have perfect posture. Just visualize it for a moment. They have perfect posture. They're standing up straight. They're walking normally. There's no shuffling. They're not bent over. They don't come across as frail, right? Which is what happens if you do nothing. And that person, walks into a room and you see them and you go, wow, that's a powerful person. It has nothing to do with their age. It's how they are presenting themselves to the world. The only true fountain of youth is exercise. And I would have cringed, 10 years ago because it's not what I wanted to hear.
And I'm making the case today for not confusing aging well with being cosmetically enhanced. And remember, it applies to male actors and celebrities too. I mean, some of those big household names who look very natural and incredibly youthful in their later years are having very subtle lower facelifts meant to give them an overall more youthful appearance without giving away the signs of surgery. And in cases like that where their surgery is going under the radar, it starts to become an unnatural standard in our minds. And that's the dangerous part, because then we all hold ourselves up to an unrealistic standard. And I say this as someone who's really interested in all aspects of aging well, including keeping healthy, hydrated, volumized skin. And I like to do that as much as I can at home and just keeping my skin in good shape. I think we all have a different margin of tolerance for the signs of aging on our skin, and actually we should be more tolerant of each other's different margins. And there's definitely a case to be made for everyone to make sure their skin is as healthy as possible, because we know that damaged older skin that's red, irritated, dry or rough, these are signs of inflammation in the skin, which can add to overall levels of inflammation in the body. And I've also recorded an episode dedicated to that very topic, which I will link below for you too. Some of the clinical laser treatments that are available now are a good alternative to surgery, and they can make a massive difference to wrinkles and pigmentation. But again, it's a big decision, because the more impactful ones remove the surface layers of skin and there's a risk of infection. So that has its own risks as well as downtime. When I think of my own situation, I always say I can't say never to having surgery. It's not something I would jump up and down about the idea of, and certainly not about paying for it. I also don't want to feel I would have to have surgery in order to do a particular type of media work, for instance. And I think the day is pretty much here when a lot of women are feeling the pressure to do that. You know, my guilty pleasures are those Real Housewives shows. I watch Orange County, Beverly Hills, Salt Lake City, New York, but I don't know if is that on now or is that off? Anyway, every time a season comes around or a new season comes around, it's like spot who's had the surgery in the break from filming. Clearly, they feel the need to have that done in order to keep the job. I think what we should understand is that we don't need to have procedures to be someone who is aging well. That's the bit we've got muddled up. Having procedures to look younger has nothing to do with aging well. They're two unrelated things. And for aging role models, we should be holding up people who prioritize their health, strength, positive mindset, and ability to live to the full in later life. They are the ones to look up to. They are the ones I hope get more attention in the media and on social media. After all, if in our 80s we could still move like Jagger, then we can handle a few wrinkles. And that is my take on the definition of aging well. And I want to hear your views now. Are we at risk of making surgeries and procedures so commonplace that we now expect any older person in the public eye to have tried to erase the signs of aging on their face? And I've said before that I think people like me who have discussed skincare a lot and treating the signs of skin aging and showing before and after comparisons, that probably contributes to the sense that we should be trying to erase the signs of age on our skin. And that is something, and I've also said this before, that I continue to wrestle with in my own mind, and I'm becoming much more conscious of how I'm contributing to this debate. I want to make sure my contribution is a positive one, so that together we're focusing on healthy, glowing skin, strong bodies and minds, and living better for longer and not impossible standards. It's what I want for me. It's what I want for you. So let me know how this landed with you. What are your thoughts on this one? Before I go, I'm going to link below to some recent episodes I think you might be interested in. There were a couple I mentioned there, but there's also some interviews that I think you might enjoy as well. You'll also find a link to my website, honest.scot, where I share more insights, reviews, and information around aging well, looking and feeling good for longer. And you can also sign up to my monthly newsletter, rounding up all my latest content so you don't miss anything from me. But for now, thank you so much for being here today.